You're in college and you have no idea what major to choose. Well, what you need is a degree that keeps your options open and will be relevant for years into the future. And I got you. Here are some of the best college majors. Hey everyone, my name is Hisham and welcome to Income Over Outcome, the go-to spot for all of the college and career resources that you need. This is probably the most comprehensive and unique list of degrees that you're gonna find on the internet. All of these degrees can earn you over $100,000, have really good job prospects, and most importantly, they give you the freedom to choose from a bunch of different career paths. And I have choices for everybody, whether you're interested in science, engineering, business, and even healthcare. As you watch this video, let me know your thoughts on these degrees. Which do you like? Do you plan to choose any of them, or are you already ahead of the game and had one of these in mind? Whatever it is, let me know your thoughts in the comments. The first major we're going to talk about is Geoscience. It's definitely not that well known, and the only reason I know about it is because one of my friends has a degree in Geoscience and he absolutely loves his job. Like with a lot of other majors out there, you're gonna have to take classes like bio, chem, physics, math, and engineering. But as a Geoscience major, you'll apply all of that towards learning about the Earth, its natural resources, what rocks it's made out of, and even what affects the climate. The reason Geoscience ranks on this list is because as governments and companies think more about the environment, the demand for geoscientists is growing way faster than a lot of other jobs, and you have a ton of different career options to choose from. You could work for the federal government helping make environmental policy decisions, the state government to help manage natural resources and forests, or even large companies where you would be an environmental engineer. One day you could be out in the field collecting rock samples, the next be creating a forecasting model, and the next be writing a scientific report that you present. The variety and the types of work and issues you face makes geoscience one of the most fulfilling careers out there. Plus, the pay is pretty good, with the average geoscientist earning over $94,000. Staying on the topic of natural resources and energy, the next major we're going to talk about is nuclear engineering, where you learn all about nuclear energy, how it's created, and how you can use it. For most people going into engineering, this wouldn't be your first choice, but the fact is that nuclear energy and radiation can be used for so much, leaving you with a behemoth of career choices to choose from. Nuclear energy is one of the cleanest sources of energy, so of course you could work for the government or energy companies, but you could also branch out and go into the medical field, where you help develop new radiology devices or techniques for radiologists to follow. At the end of the day, if you're really into science, and imagine yourself being like Dexter's Laboratory, then nuclear engineering might be the perfect degree for you. And you'll also make a decent bag, with an average salary of $116,000. Now if you're like me and aren't into science, but instead are thinking of going to business, then one of the best degrees to choose is accounting. Now I spoke about this in detail in my video on the best business degrees, but accounting is one of the safest business majors that you can get, because you're basically guaranteed a job. You can choose from multiple career paths, and if one doesn't work out, you can easily pivot. One of the most common paths is working for a big accounting firm like Accenture, Deloitte, or EY. And at those places, you can earn over $85,000 right out of college and well into six figures by your mid or late 20s. Or you could become a financial analyst, go into investment banking, or even consulting. Really, whatever business field you want, the world is your oyster. Now I will admit that accounting is probably one of the most boring degrees out there. You're basically staring at numbers and spreadsheets all day, so it's not for everybody. And while the career you end up with might not be as boring, you might want to study something with a little bit more pizzazz. So another great option is economics. Economics majors have a really versatile background, learning all about the markets and government policy. But beyond that, economics can help you build a super strong set of skills, from problem solving to analytics, and that will make you valuable to essentially every industry and a company. You can choose from a similar scope of jobs as a finance or accounting major, and then some. And economics isn't just great to get your foot into the business world, but it also makes a great pre-law degree. Of course, your income is gonna depend on what route you take. If you go finance, your income is going to be different than someone who chose a government policy type role. But with all of these options, it's no surprise that demand for people with an economics degree is growing insanely fast at 13%. For context, the average job growth across all jobs is just 3%. And the average economist does really well for themselves, with a salary of $108,000. Now that we spoke about some of the most versatile business degrees, it's only fair we speak about the most versatile STEM degrees. But before we do that, do me a solid and hit that like button, because these videos take a ton of effort to make, and you liking them helps me know I need to keep making more. Anyway, one of the most versatile STEM degrees is physics. This is the perfect degree for those of you who are interested in science but don't exactly know what career path to choose. Normally, I don't recommend a hard science major like bio or chem because they really limit your options, but physics does just the opposite. That's because with physics, you don't just learn science, but you actually learn how to apply that science to real-life scenarios where you solve complex problems using creativity. That background means you can pave your own career path based on your interests. You could go into research and development, engineering, tech, and even some business-related roles like a business analyst or consulting. Now, I've mentioned consulting a few times, and it's a really broad term, so let me explain it real quickly. It's basically a job where you're hired by companies to help them solve business problems, and you don't really need a specific degree, just strong problem-solving, analytical skills, and a business acumen. And I could go on and on talking about consulting since that's the industry I work in. But if you want to learn more about what I do, then feel free to watch this video over here where I walk you through a day in my life. Now, going back to physics, another reason it's so great is because demand is growing quickly and pay is really high, almost 3 times the average American household income at $129,000. My one caveat though is that physics is one of the hardest degrees out there, which honestly is part of what makes it so valuable. Not everyone can get through it. So you should really only choose this major if you have strong science and math skills, and of course, if it's something that you're really interested in. For me, there's no shot that I could handle physics, which brings me to a degree that is just as great, but involves way less science. Data analytics, the perfect mix of business and tech. Now, if you're a day one subscriber, you already know this, but data is the #1 most valuable asset of the 21st century. And if you're able to understand it and use it, your skills can land you essentially any job that you want. I mean, think about it. The most successful corporations are essentially data collection companies who use our data to then make money off of us. From Facebook, or should I say Meta, who tracks every single click that we make on our computers to send us super targeted ads that make them billions. To TikTok, who collects data on our behavior as we're using their app so they can feed us an endless amount of videos that we can't stop watching and end up spending more time on their app. The fact is that every single company in every industry uses data, and they need full teams of smart people to help them out with that. I work with hospitals every single day, and even they have full-on data teams, which you might not expect. Of course, tech companies have a ton of data science roles, and even small businesses use data to help them grow. So if you have literally no idea what industry you want to work in, but you know you like solving problems and helping make decisions, then data analytics is a perfect major to choose. If I had to go back to school and choose a major all over again, data analytics would be my #1 choice. Not only is this one of the fastest growing careers at a whopping 31%, but a lot of these jobs are remote and pay extremely well. You can make upwards of $80,000 to $100,000 right out of college, and experienced data scientists can earn well over $200,000. So far, I've touched a tiny bit on degrees that can get you into healthcare, but now we're going to dive completely into it. If you want to become a doctor or do anything healthcare related, then one of the best degrees to choose is healthcare informatics. This is super similar to the degree that I have. You learn all about using healthcare data and analytics to make better systems and healthcare policy decisions. With a degree in health informatics, you can get essentially any operational role in a hospital, work for a company like Epic that makes softwares for hospitals, or even go into healthcare consulting like I did. Healthcare informatics opens up so many options in the industry, but it doesn't lock you into one specific career path, which also makes it a really good pre-med degree. Traditional pre-med degrees like bio or neuroscience are horrible choices because they really limit your options. If med school or grad school doesn't work out, then you're pretty much stuck. But by choosing healthcare informatics, you can gain a really strong background that helps you stand out in your med school application. But also, if med school doesn't work out, then you can still get a really high-paying job in the healthcare industry. I could go on and on about that, but I don't want to get too much into detail over here. So if you want to learn more about pre-med and healthcare degrees, degrees, then check out these videos over here. Now the best part by far is that demand for people in operational healthcare roles is growing ridiculously fast at an average of 32%. And you're also paid extremely well with an average salary of $104,000. But I personally know that the earning potential can go up way higher than that. You really can't go wrong by getting a degree in health informatics. Now this list wouldn't be complete if I didn't include computer science. With tech companies booming over the past decade, this has been one of the most highly sought after degrees and will only continue to be so. It's completely mind-boggling how much money you can earn with a computer science degree, and it also offers some of the best work-life balance. A lot of people think computer science is a really narrow degree that can only get you software engineering jobs, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Of course, you could earn 6 figures working at a FANG right out of college, but you could also work for the government in cybersecurity, which is actually one of the fastest growing fields out there. The possibilities are endless. As a college student, it's impossible to know what you want to do for the rest of your life, which is why I chose a degree that didn't lock me into one career path that I might regret, and I made sure all of the degrees on this list do the exact same. Now if you found this video helpful, go ahead and hit that like button, and be sure to visit incomeoveroutcome.com, where I have articles, workshops, and a ton of other resources to help you grow your career. You'll also probably enjoy one of these videos, so check them out. And I'll see you next time. But until then, peace.